everybody, welcome. I am Denise Reed, and this is my podcast, Just a Point of View, put out live on video and audio versions of a little bit of happiness for a short coffee break. And if you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, somewhere in the comments is an app where you could perhaps tip me for my fun and encouraging information. I hope that I'm worthy to at least like and subscribe as I share just a short snippet of a coffee break about happiness. I am exploring this awesome journal. Let's hope I can get it turned the right way. Yay, I did it right the first time. The 52 List for Happiness by Moorea Seal. It's been a wonderful adventure, and this particular journal was a gift from my niece, and it's one of the best gifts I've ever received because there are 52 lists of happiness that you can explore in your own life. We have made it to list 20, everybody. Can you believe it? I am blown away that we have made it this far, and I still think it's worth exploring with you. I hope that you find it worth a few minutes of your day. You can either buy a copy of the journal yourself. I can't talk tonight. Or you can just grab a piece of paper, write down what number list this is and what the topic of the list is about, and explore it on your own. I hope that I inspire you to do that. And that's the whole point of my podcast, is to go out and explore your own happiness, because sometimes, like I do, I have to chase it fiercely, and I get to roll around with my happiness and have a good time. I hope that you feel the same way. Today is list 20, and Moorea Seal says that it's a list of the happiest people you know. I thought about different actors or people that I follow online, but I decided to keep it real and actually to know these people, like on the daily, like when their hair's all crazy, or they're laying around in their ratty t-shirts and shorts. Just saying, I know a few happy people, and we know each other that well. Just saying. And I hope that some of the happiest people you know them that well. I decided on my list that I had to include 2 family members specifically, because when I feel like I have met my darkest moments in life, these 2 women in particular have lifted me up from the doldrums or walked me through the sorrow that life sometimes brings you, and have made my days better. And I'll share some, I guess, personal insights about these 2 people that have brought me, or I should say 3 people really, women in my life and in my family that have brought me great joy. I'm going to start with a matriarch who has been passed for over 10 years now. I can't believe that my grandmother has been gone that long. And it's moments like this that I go, oh, I wish you were here, Granny. It's my grandmother, Trudy. And she was one of the funniest people ever. And she worked her butt off all her life and had some little snippets that she would share with people. And I think probably her irony was her greatest gift. And she, by osmosis and being around her, I got to experience it. I will never forget a story that she shared in And so my grandmother in her 90s would go to local retirement homes and entertain them. She loved to tap dance. She in her 90s or late 80s, she loved to tap dance. And one year for her physical, she went to see her doctor, and she was getting her annual exam, make sure that, she was okay and that kind of thing. And the doctor said, "Well, how are you doing, Miss Morrissey?" And she said, "Well, I'm doing great." And that was usually her answer. And he said, "Well, what have you been doing lately to contribute to the greatness in your life?" And she said, "Well, I've been taking tap dancing lessons." Now, my grandmother was a little spry thing. She was probably 5'5" on a tall day, and probably about this big around, and always busy doing something, including tap dancing. And so her doctor knew a little bit about this, and he said, "Well, how about you show me a few of your moves?" So she jumped down off the exam table and did her tap routine for him. And he said, "There's nothing else that I need to examine on you, Miss Morrissey. You're fine." So that's just one of many stories about my grandmother that I could share with you. But this is not my all things about my grandmother list. This is about the happiest people you know. And my grandmother has just a long backstory, just saying. And she had a lot to overcome as a young person, and she did it. And she never stopped doing it. And one of the things that she would say periodically when we were talking about difficult things she was trying to work through, she said, "Just put it in your hat and pull it down over your ears, because nobody cares that you're suffering. Get over it." And that was how she faced life. And I just thought that was amazing about her. And I've tried to take that same attitude, maybe with a few tweaks, but that was my grandmother. And she truly was one of the happiest people that I ever knew. And of course, my mother picked up a few of her views on the world. And my mother was one of, or still is one of, the happiest people I have ever known. So my mother is 84, and she, because of some health issues, she is no longer able to live alone in her home. And I'm charged with trying to make sure that everything goes well in her life. And she could be experiencing pneumonia. She could be bedridden. She could be suffering with a UTI. She could be having edema in her legs. She could be coughing her head off with COVID, and you go and visit her and you say, "Well, Mom, how are you feeling? Is there, what can I do to make things better for you? I understand from the nursing staff that you're struggling. Do you need some cough drops? Tell me about your current condition." And she'll look you straight in the face and she'll say, "I'm fine." And I know that she is not fine, but she has kept that attitude during several critical moments where my sister and I thought we were going to lose her in the hospital. And we asked her, "Well, Mom, how are you doing?" "I'm fine." So, just saying, my mother is fine. And one day, just an example of my mother, I went to visit her, and because of her health issues, I coerced her into getting a, what do you call it? A bed where your head and feet can lift for you to, and it has a remote control, and it has a fluffy mattress, and it does everything but fix your coffee, basically, kind of bed. And she was, my mom kind of fades in and out of the real world, and she was telling me, this is one of her lucid moments. She said, I am very lucky. And I said, yes, you are, Mother. I said, I hope that I'm spoiling you rotten where no one else will have you. And, is there anything else that I could do to contribute to your spoiling today? And she said, well, I just want to let you know that I love my bed. And I said, well, I'm glad that I talked you into getting this particular bed with a remote control so you can enjoy resting in it and be comfortable while you are. And she said, the head lifts up. And I said, yes, isn't that wonderful? And I said, and the feet lift up too. And I said, if you wanted to, she has a recliner also in her little studio apartment. I said, Mom, if you wanted to, I'll help you adjust the bed so you can be comfortable in it. She said, well, if I lift the head and the feet, I could become a human taco. I'm just saying. And I don't know where she came up with that, but she did. So, the woman who has a mother that could become a human taco. So, anyway, I love my mother and my grandmother, and they have always tickled me. And when I look back at family photos for birthday parties and Christmas and all the family events that we've had, I have the joy of including my mother and my maternal grandmother in the happiest people that I know. I will share with you that my sister has been known to share some very happy moments with me, and we have definitely gotten into some mischief together in our exploration of attempts at maturity. And I can't say that we always have been, but we have experienced some shenanigans together. And I love my sister fiercely. I also have a couple of girlfriends that we hang out together. I'm very happily married. I can't say that my husband is the happiest person I know, but he does have some happy moments. But I will share with you that I have two close friends, Suzanne Burrell and Sherry Woodruff, and I think the world of them. They're my sisters from another mother, and we just have shared life together for several years, and we definitely know how to have some fun and go out and chase it fiercely together, all three of us. So in light of all of that, there are a few other people on my list, but those are my top 5 happiest people that I know personally. In light of that, I thought I would share a little quote from this. Don't forget to sing. I always forget how to turn this. Let me move my hand. Don't forget to sing in the lifeboats by Catherine and Ross Petrus. And they shared a quote from Horace, who's a poet apparently. And Horace says, mix a little foolishness with your prudence. It's good to be silly at the right moment. And that can give you some serious joy. And in this current cultural environment, I feel like we could stand to have a little silliness, not at the detriment or slight of others, but just to create a little bit of fun and mix things up. So I hope that I've inspired that with a few of highlights from family and friends. Now, think about how you could express yourself, and how do you know if someone is happy? For me, it is definitely a smile on your face. if you're going around glum and crying all the time and doing woe is me and why can't I and why isn't this and playing the should game, would have, could have, should have, please stop. Please stop. And redirect yourself and go, this is how I'm going to be. Choose to be happy. Choose to do something that makes you happy. And if you're not, it's time to change what you're doing. Just saying, it's time for some change for what you're doing. And I hope that I have encouraged you to at least consider that. And don't take life so seriously, because if you did, oh my Lanta, you could be in the doldrums for years. And I just refuse to stay there. And I hope that you'll come along with me. All right, so let's get to the wrap it up. How can you adopt some happiness traits? And here's what Moorea Seal recommends in her Take Action segment of the 52 lists for happiness. She's for list 20. She says, take action. How do these people express their happiness? This week, try emulating the way that someone you admire expresses their positivity and joy. It might feel uncomfortable or weird at first, but practice makes everything easier, including happiness. You have to practice. Focusing on the joy and playing the opposite game. Play the opposite of being sad. Play the opposite of being angry. Play the opposite of whatever is driving you insane, and do the opposite. Bring some joy into your life. Like I said, it's no joke. I am chasing happiness fiercely, and I hope to hold on to her coattails so she can drag me along with her, and that I can share these moments with you. And you can create your list 20 of who are the happiest people you know. And I hope that I've encouraged you to go back and watch some of the other videos or listen to the other episodes of my podcast to figure out what other things that I'm exploring to bring happiness into your life. And hopefully, if just one item on one of these lists brings you a little bit of joy, and you think about people in your life that have brought you joy, given you some hugs. My grandchildren have expressed that I'm the only nanny that they've ever known their whole lives. And maybe you can be that person for someone else. And hopefully you can bring other people a little bit of joy when they didn't think they could find theirs. So I bid you adieu and good night, and thanks for hanging out with me today to explore list 20 of who are the happiest people you know. I hope that you can include me on your list 20, and that you'll like and subscribe to my podcast and videocast, because it does make a difference. And just have a great evening. Talk to you later. Bye.